Everybody, welcome and thank you so much for getting on tonight. We have an awesome call set up for you guys tonight. We're going to try to keep it to about an hour or less because we know your time is valuable, but we have 5 of our jewels on this call tonight ready to share with you guys their journeys to Emerald. So it's going to be a fantastic night. So get your notebooks ready because they're going to give you so much valuable information. We have most of their journeys happen from around 11 months to 15 months, and they're going to tell you specific action steps that they took to get to Emerald and Sapphire as well, and also just what they did and how much time, like if they went silver their first month or if it took them 4 or 5 months, and then also if they started the business right out the gate, or if they took some time and waited and then decided later to start doing the business, and if they regret that. And so get your notes ready. I'm going to introduce my sponsor who I signed up under, and then she's going to go introduce who she signed up under, and we're going to go all the way up to Janelle with all the 5 jewels that are on the call tonight. So Erin Bush, she's my amazing sponsor that I signed up under in Plexus. And I want to tell you guys, every single jewel that's on this call tonight has had a key part in my success in Plexus because they've all helped me. So Erin is one that's helped me tremendously, and she is a Sapphire ambassador. And so I'd like to introduce to you guys Erin Bush.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Hollie. And Hollie is seriously incredible. She works with a passion while still evolving in her own health journey, and that is no small matter. That is just, if you could live a day in her body, you would see how this woman is a superwoman. Now I'm going to cry because it truly, the fact that she can build the team that she has built while feeling the way she feels is God, and is testimony to who she is and what her character is. So, okay, you guys, I know y'all have heard my story before, probably. If you haven't, here we go real quick. Miserable, in darkness, in pain, just angry. I was struggling even spiritually. I had been suffering for so long. I was not one of those people who can positively suffer through physical ailment. I'm not. And that's something I still have to work on. It's just part of, unfortunately, kind of who I am and my burden to carry. And so I was desperate. Amber posted one time, and she posted more than that, but the one time she posted, I saw it, and I started asking her questions, did a little bit of research, and ordered the product within a week, I would say. I decided that maybe to get myself out of darkness, I needed to go back to teaching. That was my true first love. And I'd kind of lost myself through all of my health ailments and through being a stay-at-home mom. It's not easy. And you sometimes lose yourself in, wiping noses and bottoms. So I decided to do that and realized that, oh my gosh, how am I going to get out of bed? And I was on the floor of my bathroom crying out to God, and Amber posted just a few days later. So Plexus truly was an answer to prayer, except I didn't know that yet. And certainly Amber didn't know that yet. In fact, I was grumpy and was sure it wasn't working and was not short in words to tell her that constantly. And she just loved on me where I was at all the way through. I even was negative on the team pages. I was added to team pages and thought, these people are here to make money and sell a product. How horrible is that? And but Amber just, again, was constantly loving me where I was at. I can't imagine how many times she must have thought, If only she would just go away, it would be easier, because I really was negative. And then in that 4th month, when I finally gave up my expensive probiotic and added Probiotic 5, that's when things started to move. But what's interesting here is I'm still too embarrassed to post much about Plexus. I was happy enough that, and feeling good enough that I did do a periodic post. And Amber said, why don't you just tell people what you're doing? And Bob's like, well, maybe you'd get a customer if you did one post. So I do like one post and then be scared to death if someone would see it. And 2 weeks later, do one more post. And then as I started to feel better, my posting actually got better, but not frequent enough because I wasn't all in. I gained 2 customers through my ridiculously inconsistent posting, my neighbor and my sister-in-law. And, I made a decent, tiny little check. But it was Thanksgiving of 2014 that I went to Bob. It was a Black Friday deal. And I said, I think I need to do this. Like, I think God is telling me that I need to become a Plexus ambassador. I mean, I've been one for wholesale, but I need to become a Plexus ambassador. It's going to take time. I'm going to take time in the evenings to study this so I can be really good at it. Do I have your blessing? He said, yes. And that weekend I went silver. And I really believe that people could see the difference in those posts before and those posts after I drew my line. And that's why all of the sudden I went, silver in one weekend. But I refused to talk about the business. So I ended up signing a culture and beginning a culture of wholesalers. So that was a mistake. Yes, I loved on people. Yes, I loved sharing. Yes, I was passionate because of what had happened to me, but I was building a culture of wholesalers. And you guys, that's not a good thing. Well, I was selfish because I wasn't telling anybody about the business opportunity. I was selfish because I was fearful, looking at my own self and saying, oh my gosh, people are going to think I'm making money. Well, I was making money. And Bob kept saying, you got to figure out the compensation plan, why you're getting these checks. And I refused, because to me, learning about the compensation plan meant that I was supportive of network marketing. And you're looking at a 25-year hater. I couldn't just spin on a dime and all of a sudden think that network marketing was okay. I mean, that goes against my nobler profession of teaching. Come on now. So God had to do a work in my heart there too. And it wasn't until someone came to me and said, I think Plexus can solve my health problems. And I was convinced, yeah, she was right. They could, but I cannot make any money, or I can't pay for it unless I make some money. How do I make money? And that's when I realized that God was humbling my heart, softening my heart, and bringing me to a place where I was proud of this new profession, and that this profession is just as noble as pouring into high school students, because I'm still pouring into people. I'm doing something completely different in the way of pouring, and the type of people are different, but I'm still investing in people, which is really my passion. Okay, so what did I do? I was posting with a passion. And I was not just like throwing up a post. I mean, I would really think about it. I made a list of like 85 things that I had noticed that was different in my life because of Plexus, or that I wanted to be different down the road as I became more consistent with the products, as I kept going and time went on. And then I went back and used those little triggers, because that's what people want to see, is what's happening in your life, and weaving that into my life. The other thing that I did was I made sure that I was constantly pushing myself outside my comfort zone and getting that uncomfortable adrenaline rush. And there's an great adrenaline rush when you exercise, right? There's a totally different adrenaline rush when you're on the spot and you have to tell somebody about Plexus when you're brand new. So and give up that identity I had of being a teacher, because I decided that if I wanted to do this successfully, part of my identity had to be the fact that I was a network marketer. And 25 years of hate here, it took some shaking. And especially when your husband goes and puts you on the spot because you're in line and somebody says, oh, does Plexus really work? Because he's wearing a Plexus shirt. And he says, yeah, my wife can tell you all about it. Throwing me under the bus. But, things like that made it to the point where now my ratio of, if I'm talking to 5 people, my chances of getting 2 to 3 out of that 5 are much higher than they were before. Before it was probably maybe I'd get 1/4 of the 5. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just because you just get better as you go. I was reading books constantly. I was looking at myself and going, where am I deficient? What I mean is in the pillars of belief. So self, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in network marketing? Do you believe in the Plexus products? Do you believe in the Plexus compensation plan and leadership? So where was I deficient? And for me, it was constantly self over, and a little bit of network marketing too. But, the connection between network marketing and yourself is this: 90% of the network marketing is people being attracted to you. So I had to work on me. And then I had to work on moving the culture of my Plexus team from wholesale to business builders. You cannot get anywhere where there's a financial wall around your family until you move from wholesale. I mean, wholesalers are great. We must love on wholesalers, but you've got to have business builders to get to Jewel. You do. You can't do it by yourself. But there's one more thing I wanted to add to this. And I was thinking about, because one of the questions was, one piece of advice I'd like to give you is this: you must constantly be expanding your friends. You must be because you know what's going to happen? Your group of friends are going to join you, and then they're going to have their group of friends joining. Guess what? Y'all have mutual friends. Y'all are mutual. And all of a sudden you're going to go, oh my gosh, all my people have all my people. What am I going to do? And all of a sudden you're having to start over, making new friends, making new relationships, investing in people. So don't ever stop doing that. That's for someone who had pushed everybody out of their life. That's what I did in the last 5 years before I found Plexus. There's a lot of rebuilding that I have had to do. And I'm seeing now, as my people are signing my people, that rebuilding needs to happen. And I should have started it even earlier. So even from day one, like today, determine that your friends, a number of friends you have, and I'm not just talking Facebook friends. I mean, people who you invest in, who when you talk to, you're asking them questions. How's your mom? How's your mom feeling? Oh my gosh, I love that kind of breed of dog. Do you know about this breed? This is what I've got. And you know what? I'm being really simplistic here, but the point is, you're doing Dale Carnegie everywhere you go. If you have not read How to Win Friends and Influence People, it's one of the best books ever for expanding your network. And you guys, as we know, like psychologically, it is just better when you have a huge support group where you are. It is better. So, okay, I'm going to stop talking because there's lots of other people who need to go. So I'm going to introduce Amber.
Erin, real quick before
Yes.
you go, can you tell us how long it took you to get to silver, and then from silver to gold and so forth?
Okay, so silver was just that weekend, and then it took me 4 months to gold, and then after that, it was every 3 months I ranked, to senior gold, 3 months to ruby. And what I was doing is my mindset was always, instead of looking at the next or looking at like gold, I would look at senior gold, and then instead of ruby, I'd look at senior ruby. I think that stops at a certain point, because all of a sudden you have to go senior ruby again to go emerald, and then you have to go emerald again to get to sapphire, and you learn real fast that those 1,500 points are that's big. It's really big. And then you have to do 1,500 points again to get to diamond. So, but in the lower things, I was like, how many people do I need to get in order to rank in 3 months again. And so that's what I was always focusing on. And I did a lot of IPA myself, always came first before any team management whatsoever. Oh, I need to introduce Amber. Amber's amazing. So Amber is my sponsor. Totally a God thing that I trusted her. And like, I believe that God just like totally, she is like my Erin Bush's perfect sponsor. Like seriously, like totally divinely appointed. Okay, Amber, your turn.
Well, that was quite the intro. Okay, so hello, yes. My name is Amber Hargett. I think most of you know me, and probably you've heard my story. I've done some different opportunity meetings and shared a lot, but I'll tell it real quick. So I joined just to lose some weight, and I joined extremely broke. In 2008, I had a miscarriage, and I got real depressed and quit my job on a whim. And also because I felt like I wanted to stay home with the two little girls that I had. And so, in 2008, my husband lost both of his jobs. Well, we ended up losing our house. We started moving from house to house, searching for the cheapest rent. And that time was super hard on our marriage and extremely hard on our finances. We got in tons of credit card debt, and we could just see no way out. So that's how I found Plexus, was broke and broken. And just personally, I didn't really think of anything besides losing some weight. I didn't think there was any hope out there for our finances. I didn't think there was any hope out there for our marriage, for our family to actually be able to live. We were just surviving. And so I didn't know what God had planned through this business. So I joined just to lose some weight. I think Erin joined the month afterwards. And we literally, like she said, we sat back. And she acts like she was all negative and I was all positive. But I very remember, maybe I was positive to her, but I didn't believe in network marketing either. And I remember sitting back and just kind of making fun of everybody who was, if I would have just gotten on the ball, man, we could have, if we would have given it that 6 months, we could be even farther than we are. But I know that we're on our own journey, so that's okay. But we sat back and we didn't believe in network marketing, and I really didn't even believe in the products. I was looking for weight loss, and I wasn't even thinking about health. I wasn't even really paying attention to what the products were already doing in my body. So then slowly I started noticing that my anxiety was gone, that my blood pressure was down, that and honestly, I don't think that I even gave it a fair try until we started at the business that Thanksgiving. So when Erin told me that she was gonna go to the top of this company, it was my red personality that just said, oh, okay, well then I'm doing it with you because I'm not going to let you. She did pass me up, but that she deserved to pass me up. But I thought at the time, I'm not going to let you pass me up. I'm going to the top as well. And so that is when I really started even giving the products a chance. I can't even say that I was super consistent before then. I was able to get my daughter off all of her ADHD medicine. I started losing weight. My husband lost weight super fast. His migraines are gone. I had a terrible Diet Coke addiction, like an addict. I was, it was like a true addiction where I would shake and get headaches. And if I ever tried to quit, Plexus just completely took that away. So once we decided that we were going to do it, we both went silver that weekend. So we went silver in the weekend. And then by, I believe it was 2 months. So by the end of January, I was gold. And from there, I promoted pretty much every other month. So I went gold at about 2 months, 3 months. And then 2 months later, I'd go senior gold. 2 months later, I'd go ruby. I think it took 3 months after that to go senior ruby. And then I sat at ruby for about 4 or 5 months, I believe. So overall, it took me 14 months to go to emerald. And looking back, that was fast. I didn't realize, it seemed like it was not fast at the time. But my goal that whole time was to add about 30 people a month. That's what I thought. If I could add 30 people, that will give me a little bit of attrition. That'll give me 125 points a month. and then 125. So in 2 months, that's 250 points. So that was my goal every month. And I am like Erin, dug into the compensation plan and loved the compensation plan. So I knew if I could get 30, 40 people a month, that I was going to be promoting every other month. During that time, I worked really, really hard for those 14 months. For those 14 months, I was going to school full-time. I was working full-time. I had 3 girls in activities. We started a church in my house, and I made a lot of sacrifices. And I remember Stephanie talking about her neighbor saying, man, I see how late you're up, and I see how hard you're working. I don't want to put in that kind of work. And that's how I felt I was too. But now, that was 14 months of extreme dedication. And during that time, what I did is I put in hours before work. I put in hours after work. I was doing trainings every week and opportunity meetings every week. And I remember somebody early on told me that whoever holds the mic makes the money. And so I wanted to be the one with the mic, and I wanted to be the one making money. So at first, I will say that it was very red driven. I think it was very competition driven, very just really like a game. I remember my dad one time told me, man, Amber, you love this because it's like a game. Like you're always talking about the points, and you're talking about, it was just exciting to me. And then I got to see my friends' lives start to completely change. And I got to see Erin's health. When she came out, I think that was, I can't remember that month, we did this opportunity meeting, and it was packed out. And that's where she did that video where she talked about from life to death. And I think it was at that moment that my belief really kicked in as well. January, yeah. So it was about a month after we went gung-ho into the business, she flew out. And I think seeing her and listening to her story and seeing that crowd of people, I just thought, there are so many people in this world that need these products. Like I can't just live selfishly for me and think about the money and think about the competition. Like I have to tell people about this. And so I tried to do a lot of private messaging. I got some really, really hard feedback when I first started posting, and just people really attacking me. And I hate confrontation, and I hate for people to not like me. I don't think I've ever had people not like me until Plexus. And so that was really, really hard for me to realize that, oh, like I'm doing stuff that annoys people or makes people mad. So I will say that slowed me down. Like I did not post on Facebook as regularly or as passionately as Erin did. And I still don't to this day. It's still a hang up that I am working through. And I'm trying to post smarter, and I'm trying to post, get, people to like my page and stuff. But I much prefer talking to people in person, and I like to private message people. In fact, I just got kicked out of my mom's group that I love so much. I'm in this mom's group, and I friend everybody on that mom's group. Uh-oh, am I there? Uh-oh, can you hear me? Am I frozen? No, okay.
You're good.
My husband, that freezes everything. So I just got kicked out of my mom's group because I was messaging everybody. I don't know. They say I was doing stuff. So, got put back in. But that's what I like to do. If somebody would post anything on Facebook that said perhaps they were tired or they needed some money, or there are so many notifications going off on my phone right now. It is like something has happened and everyone's calling at once. Hopefully it's not an emergency. Okay, so I would see somebody who, because people are posting all of their stuff on Facebook. They are posting when they are sick or different issues or diabetes, or they're tired or they need a job. So I would just private message people all the time, especially that first year, just telling them, hey, I saw this, and I don't want to intrude, but I just know that these products are helping people. So I was really big on in-person meetings. I was really big on just going out and talking to people, talking to the gas station person, talking to the person washing my car. And I was really big on private messaging. Some things that I did that first year is, like I said, I think I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed my time. I sacrificed my money, even when I wasn't making very much money. I would take pretty much my whole paycheck. When I was silver, I would take that paycheck and I would offer to buy 3 websites. And then the next month, I would take my paycheck and I would offer to buy 3 websites. And so I don't know if that's the best practice now, but I think my team saw that I was willing to sacrifice for them. And so I put in my hard-earned money. I put in money that I really didn't have to give and invested in my team. I also had to sacrifice my pride, just like Erin said about network marketing. Now I think it's a brilliant business plan. Like there's no way that I could be making the kind of money that I was making in corporate at the bank. But at the time I didn't feel like that. So I had to sacrifice my pride to network marketing, but also I had to sacrifice my pride in receiving criticism. So as you grow in this company, people, even your team, are going to come to you and they're going to have complaints and they're going to have things, against you. It's even if you're in the spotlight, you get criticism. Now I sing at my church and oh my goodness, I'm going to put up like a sign, like I'm at the zoo, like do not interact with the singers. Like we don't need your opinions. But if you are in the spotlight, if you are growing, you are going to have criticism. And so what I tried to do that first year is I tried to let it fuel me to be better. Like I would take what was true and I would try to make myself better from it. And I would not accept what I knew not to be true. So if someone came at me and said, you're not working hard enough for your team, I'd say, no, I am doing this. I am doing this. I am doing this. And I didn't say this to them, but I would not let it get to me. But if they said something that I knew deep in my heart could make me better, and there's always a little bit in that, then I would accept it. And another thing, just like Erin said, self-development. That first year, that road to Emerald, I read book after book after book, and then I would read a book 5 times in a row. Trying to make myself better and grow as a leader, just learn how to talk to people better, with all sorts of GoPro and the 4-year career, all those ones that you've heard, but maybe you haven't read yet, and maybe you have, but I would encourage you to read them again. Because for me, I remember hearing someone talk about take a book, read it, and read it again until you are truly doing what it says. So, Amber, can you repeat your timeline? I didn't write fast enough. I know it was pretty much every other month. Okay, yeah. So that first weekend, I went silver. And so I tell people when they, when their goal is to go silver in a couple months or something, everyone has 3 people that they can call and just say, we are doing this together. I saw this recently with a new ambassador of mine. Literally that night, she got on and she said, you're doing it with me, you're doing it with me, and you're doing it with me. So 3 people that you have extreme influence over. It's usually your sisters or your cousins or your family, or your mom is going to whip out that credit card, or your grandma is going to whip out that credit card if you ask them to. And so I went silver in the weekend. And then it took me, I believe at the end of January, I went gold. So that was 2 months. And then every other month. So 2 months to gold, 4 months to senior gold, 6 months to ruby, 8 months to senior ruby. I think it was 9 months to senior ruby. And then 14 months to emerald. So and then it's been a year. It's been a year at Emerald. So I'm going back to basics of how to grow myself as a leader, how to grow myself as a businesswoman, to really grow my outside legs and to even improve myself. I think we can never be done learning. We can never be done improving. And so that's what I am working on to keep advancing. And so I think that's all I have for you. I get to introduce Sarah. Now, Sarah, I'm actually her level 2. I ordered my product, or I signed up under Pat, who I didn't even know. Someone said she sold Plexus and then it helped lose weight. So I signed up under her. But so I just thank God that he knew when Sarah was sharing with Pat, that one day Pat would be able to talk to me about it, and then this whole list of people is going to be helped. So Sarah is someone who is an encourager, and I'm so blessed to have her as one of my uplines. So Sarah, I'm excited to hear from you.
Thank you, Amber. I love your story, and I love hearing Erin's too. And I want to tell you, hello, everybody. That day, Erin talked about, and Amber talked about, that when Erin came to California for the opportunity meeting in January 2015, that was a pivotal moment in my journey to just let me know that this Plexus had gone from weight loss and this little business to some serious life-changing thing that we were obligated to share with people. When you can change lives, and then that continued, like with Hollie, and just so many, even with going back to my ambassador, Pat, that we talk about. So let me back up, and I'll talk a little bit about my journey. So I started out, my sponsor was, my daughter is Stephanie Murray, and she's my sponsor. So yes, everything that you know about call your mom and she'll ask you, okay, let me get my credit card, and she'll sign up, is totally true, because I knew nothing about Plexus. And I knew nothing about Plexus, and I'm sure Stephanie just thought I was just going to be a wholesaler and nothing would ever go from that. And she was right, except for I started taking these products that I was super skeptical about. I started feeling amazing, so much so that I went out, I joined a networking group and started telling people about Plexus and the opportunity, because it was this change that came over me. I had no idea that Plexus was going to be the answer, but I had actually been praying and praying. But I had been praying for two things. One was that for my grandkids and for my daughter financially, that God would bring something for them. And Stephanie will tell you about her story and you'll hear more. But basically, they needed a financial answer. And I couldn't be with my grandkids because I had to work, but I just begged God for an answer. And I didn't know it was going to be Plexus. And at the same time, I was begging for a health answer. I had given up on making resolutions. I didn't make resolutions. I just begged God that I would get healthy. I didn't want to lose weight. I needed to lose weight, but I just wanted to get healthy. And I had no idea that Plexus would be the answer, but it was. So anyways, so I signed up and I started talking and telling people, and I did not believe in network marketing. I had seen people sell other products with network marketing, and what I believed to be true was that there were some people that basically thought of a business, sold poor women that needed hope a bunch of product, and they would give their heart, and they would make a very small amount, and someone at the company would make a very large and substantial amount, and women would just have garages full of product, and they'd go out every night away from their family and do parties and try to make a business, and they were selling dreams. But with Plexus, it was different. It was so much different, and you know how different Plexus is with, and it's the right way. And so I signed up in February, right after Valentine's Day, and it was actually on 17th of February that Stephanie called, 3 days after Valentine's. I was so sad because I felt so unlovable on Valentine's Day. I have a husband. He loved me. He thought I was wonderful. People loved me, but I felt unlovable on the 14th of February. But on the 17th of February, Stephanie called, and I signed up for Plexus, and my products came, and I started taking them. And so I joined, Stephanie told me about this grassroots networking thing. So I joined a networking group and started going out and talking to people. I found a free business mixer put on by the local Chamber of Commerce, and I went out and I started talking to people, and the girl at the booth right next to me, she was the first person that I actually talked to about Plexus at this event, and she signed up. She signed up with Plexus. It was crazy. I was in shock. I was shaking. She didn't know that she was the very first person I ever talked to about it, but she signed up. So then I started, I was at work, and the products started making me feel happier, and I was a happier person, and people started asking me what I was doing at work. They thought I had found, you know, the fountain of youth or something. They wanted to know what my secret was, and I was happy. So I hadn't planned on sharing Plexus with anybody at work. I wasn't going to tell anybody, but they started seeing a change in me, and I started talking to people. My next ambassador was actually Pat Andrade, and all I said to her, because she had done her and a friend at work had done a previous business, and they had dreams. I went out to lunch with them. They asked me to go out to lunch with them. They told me about their dreams, about this business, and what they could do to stay home with their kids and take care of their families. And I remembered that. And so I thought of Pat when I started with the Plexus and heard about the compensation plan. And I went and I told her, I found what you're looking for. That's all I said to her. I found what you're looking for. And I didn't say anything else. And a day or two went by, and she came back and she asked me, what did you find and why do I need it? And she didn't believe it at first. She had done other network marketing businesses, and she didn't really want to get into another one. She had a credit card, and she was desperately trying to pay this credit card down. It was inventory from a previous business. And so she really didn't want to start Plexus. And she started taking the products. She actually bought them directly from me. She did not want to go to the website. She just I had products. She bought it from me from a month. At the end of the month, she didn't feel any different. She was really trying to lose weight. She hadn't lost any weight. So really, not that she hadn't felt different, but she hadn't lost any weight. And she told me, I'm just not sure this is for me. It's just, and I said, please just try it again. So she ordered product, and about 2 weeks later, into that second month, she started seeing changes, started losing weight. And then she was completely excited and from then it took off. And she had health issues that I didn't know about. I worked with her for 20 years. There were things I didn't know about her. We don't tell everybody at work about all your health things. You know you have issues, or you know that your husband's not working, you have financial issues, but you don't really know all the things that are wrong with them and all the things that are wrong with their kids. But when people start looking at the products, start taking the products and seeing the differences, and they get their kids on the products, and they start seeing amazing, amazing ADHD type, mental, physical, all sorts of changes, you're just so happy that they took a chance, but more importantly, that you offered them the products, because you couldn't know how much they needed them. Nobody could know that I had been praying for a financial opportunity for my daughter. And God works in mysterious ways. And no one knew that I was begging for something to make me feel better. And Plexus did it. So that's my story, kind of jumbled up there. But let me just tell you real quickly about ranks, because Holly asked about ranks. Okay, so in February, I started the products. This was 2014. I turned silver in April, and in June was the Plexus convention. Now, Stephanie was going to the Plexus convention. I wanted to do something with Stephanie. I thought this would be so cool that I could actually go with my daughter and we could go to this convention. Now, I'm thinking Flintstones and the Barney Rubble and a Buffalo convention, and I've heard their wild parties, and I'm thinking, what is a 47-year-old woman going to do at one of these conventions? And it's just going to be, I'm thinking, but I had already said yes before I even thought about it. It just came out of my mouth. I committed. I bought my ticket. And then I'm thinking, oh, my God, what have I done? So we went to, it was in Dallas. We got on a plane. We went to Dallas. And we walked into the hugest convention center I'd ever been in. they had already started. We were a little bit late from the airport. We had already gotten there. We're dragging our luggage into the convention. All these people are sitting there. They just started. The violins are playing this Led Zeppelin song, and I can't even tell you the name, but anyways, I started bawling. We walked into this room. These violins were playing, the lights were going, and I started bawling because I knew this was the real thing. And from then on, I could just tell everybody that Plexus is real. This is the real thing. So that's my story. Oh, let me introduce you to you. Stephanie Murray, the amazing Stephanie Murray. You all know who she is. She's my kid, and I'm just so proud to be a part of this. And here she is.
Thanks, Mom. And at that convention, my mom made sure to tell everyone that she is not Stephanie's mother. She's Sarah. And don't call me Mom at but so I'm going to go quickly here so that we don't take up too much more time. I started Plexus. When I started Plexus, I had been working outside of the home for about 6 months at that point, and I had my youngest child was almost a year. And for that entire 6 months, I hope I'm getting that timeline right, every time I left to work, I would just cry. Like the first half hour of my hour and a half drive, I would just bawl because I did not want to be going to work. I did not want to be leaving my babies to be raised in daycare, and that's what was happening. And I didn't even know that my mom was praying for some way for me to be able to stay home. So that's really cool. But when Plexus found me, I was still, even though I was driving to work every day crying, wishing I could be with my babies, I was not looking for a solution to that problem. All I saw was my friend Erica posting on Facebook about this pink drink, and she had energy and she was losing weight. She had dropped 2 pant sizes, and I was the heaviest I had been like ever. When I had my second baby, I didn't lose any of that weight. I just kept gaining basically. So I was miserable, and I was the only female in 1,000 Marines who work out every single day as part of their job. So they're all super fit, and I'm sitting there feeling like fat and gross. So I desperately needed to lose weight, and I was just guzzling coffee all day because I was so tired. So I saw Erica posting, and I just wanted to try it out of vanity. I had no interest in working the business. I had done 2 network marketing companies prior to this and failed at both of them. The first one, I had a bunch of inventory, tried to do parties, tried to do craft shows, never made, in my best month when I worked my butt off and did all those things, I think I made $30 and still had a closet full of stuff. And the second company that I joined, because I caught the vision of what network marketing, the industry, what the dream of network marketing is and the potential of it was. So I joined this other company in hopes of making it work. And it was very old school network marketing. I wasn't allowed to put anything on social media, which I was just starting to, kind of be really active on social media. I wasn't allowed to put anything there. It was all get your friend on a 3-way call with your upline. You schedule an appointment to show them the plan. You draw out the plan, like all this stuff. Talked to just about every single person I knew, showed a bunch of people the plan. Not even my best friend or my mom would join. I had bought this plan that included my parents, and I told my parents, and they were like, okay, cool, like, thanks. Anyway, failed miserably at that. So I wanted nothing to do with network marketing. And here's the kicker. Here's the key. When I joined and I told my friend that I wasn't interested in the business side, she still added me to the team page. So if you ever sign a wholesaler who says they don't want to work the business, you still add them to the team page. Because I got nosy and started poking around, and I think maybe I got on a call or something, and I was reading about the compensation plan, and a light bulb clicked, and I was like, wait a minute, I can make actual money here. And I saw how the compensation plan was different and that there was potential there, real potential. And so I took off. When I decided that I could use this to get home with my kids, I did everything I possibly could. And like Amber talked a lot about sacrifice in that 11 months. I was sacrificing a lot. I was sacrificing a lot of what I wanted, time with my kids and my family, because I knew that if I did it long enough and I worked hard enough that I could make that happen. I could then be home with them. And it happened. And she mentioned my neighbor. My neighbor Ashley did probably a few months after I was home from, retired from my job. She said, I used to watch you, like, you were never home. The boys would come out and play with Nate, and you were never home. You'd get home really late. And I thought, that can't be worth it. And she's like, now I see that it's worth it, because I was then the one who was like texting her, yo, when do you get off of work? Like, when are you going to come hang out with us and the kids? Like, why don't we go to the water park? Oh, wait, you have to work tomorrow. Like, and so she saw, yeah, that was a whole lot of sacrifice, and it looked really horrible from the outside, but then the result was worth it. So I went all in. That was one of the questions. I joined January 20th, and sometime mid-February, probably about 2 weeks in, maybe 10 days to 14 days, is when I got nosy and was like, something clicked, and I decided I was going to do it. And February I went silver. March I went gold. April I went senior gold. And then it took me until July to go ruby, and then all the way to October for senior ruby, and then emerald in December 31st. And then from there, it took me an entire 14 months to go sapphire. So that was December 2014, I went emerald, and I went sapphire in February 2015. What I was doing in that time, before I ever joined Plexus, when I had gone back to work, and I had an hour and a half commute each way, and I had started listening again to personal development stuff, leadership development stuff for work, because I was in a leadership position and I wanted to know how to influence people. And I had gotten a taste of that in my previous network marketing company, which, like, you learn from everything, nothing's wasted. I had learned this love for personal development, and it kind of rekindled that when I went back to work. And so I started listening to all these books again. I listened to How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was all before Plexus. So then Plexus came along, and it just went into like hyperdrive. So then I was consuming books like crazy, listening to everything possible on Audible during my drives to work. And like Amber said, like, would read the same book over and over again, looking for where am I still, not making that happen. In probably the end of February, must have been the end of February, I watched a video from Eric Worre. He puts it out every now and then, how to sponsor 20 people in 30 days. And so I was like, well, okay, I'll do that. So I made my plan. I knew that I wanted to sponsor 20 people. And by the end, that's how I went gold. I decided, I'm going to sponsor my own way to gold. I need 20 people to go gold. Okay, I'm going to do that. And basically that's what I did. I think I sponsored 18 in that month, and that's how I went gold in March. And the biggest thing from doing that whole 20 people in 30 days was that I was in massive action. I joined a networking group. I was out there talking to people, and the networking group didn't bring me a ton of people, but I was in action. I was talking to people, and that attracts, like, people feel that. Like, I know it's like hokey pokey and like new agey to be like, you send out these vibrations into the world, but it's true. When you're in action, you're attracting more to you. I'm doing the same thing this month. In January, like someone else mentioned, it's back to basics. Like, I have to build my own personal stuff. I've been so distracted by trying to make sure everybody else is taken care of. My own business, my personal activity has suffered. And so January, I'm like been laser focused on personal activity. And it's amazing that people are coming back from like level ones that have disappeared. They're coming back. I'm getting these random like cold market leads, people on Instagram, stuff like that, because I'm in massive action. And I sat down and told my family this month, hey, I have huge goals. and mommy's going to take some time. I'm going to be more, more focused on my business. That means you're not going to see me quite as much. We're going to have dinner, but whatever. And we had that conversation. Just like when I was hustling to get to Emerald, they knew I was doing it for a reason. So I think that's important to have your family's buy-in and that they understand, like, you're not just shutting yourself in the office. There's a purpose and there's also an end to that. So massive action, having your family on board. And part of my whole like road to Emerald was it started with understanding the compensation plan. And so I'm really big on that. Like, when you have to know how it works. You have to figure out how you're getting paid and how you get to the next rank. And don't ask your sponsor how you get to your next rank. Or how many people you need. Figure it out, because I suck at math. Like, I'm really horrible at math. And I know that's not the positive thing to say, but I really suck at math and I can figure it out. So if I can figure it out, then you can figure it out. It's 5 times however many people in your 1 through 3. So I can do my 5 multiplication tables. I can't do my 3s very well. I can't do my 9s, but I can do 5. So 5 times anything is pretty easy. So figure it out. I wanted to show you. So knowing your compensation plan then leads you to be able to have really specific goals. So every single month I wrote down my goals on a sheet of paper, and this is March, and I have every month in here. I'm missing a couple months, but I think I just lost them. And in the beginning, I even had people by name. Like, I have my box, and then I wrote down who I personally sponsored. And then, so that was March, and it was to go gold, and I went gold. And then April, my goal was to go senior gold. And I knew every single box that you guys can see there, I knew I needed this many people to add brand new. And I had figured out, okay, if I have, 50 people add brand new, what's the likelihood of how many of those people are going to hit also over the welcome pack? And I figured all that out. And so I knew exactly how many people I needed to add each month. And just knowing like, okay, my team needs to add 50 people this month. I can't possibly add 50 people, but then I could motivate them to add 50 people, to help me add 50 people. So every single month. May, I thought I was going to double rank Ruby and Senior Ruby because I was totally on a roll. And I didn't. And then I lost April or May, June. No, never mind. June, kept going. July is somewhere else. August. July, I ranked Ruby, so maybe that went somewhere. And then November, you guys can see how the boxes get smaller and smaller because I literally have a box for every single person we needed to add. I knew exactly how many we needed to add. Just like I think Erin was saying, she was projecting out. Like, I knew if I wanted to go Emerald in December, I needed to add this many people in November to make it possible. And there's my Emerald in December. So I just you guys that. And then it keeps going into 2015, January, and so on. So if you are not writing down your goals every single month and you don't know the compensation plan and specifically how many people you need to get where you want to go, then you might want to start there because that's probably pretty important. The last thing I will say that I did specific action while I was talking to all of those people, and every single time I would talk to anybody. In the beginning, I had so much going on. People were coming to me and asking me about it. I had the same response that I would copy and paste, but I would pay attention to the way that people reacted. So I would send them one thing, and if they didn't react the way I wanted them to, I would just tweak it. I would change the language a little bit. And I did that for what I was sending, copy and pasting. And then I would also do that for the way that I was talking to people face to face. So I would just pay attention. I was studying myself and studying how people were reacting to me and tweaking what I was doing until I figured out, okay, then I need to say it this way because she didn't, she didn't answer me after that. That's when I figured out I need to end with questions. You guys have probably heard me say that in trainings before. When you end with a question, it continues on. I'm not the best conversationalist in the world. In fact, I don't like talking to people. It makes me really uncomfortable. I'm like, it really does. I'm like, dead conversation. So I didn't like doing it, but I figured out where it was not going well and tweaking it to make it better. So I will, with that, I'm going to introduce you to Janelle Espling. She is 2 above me, and she's one of my best friends in the whole entire world, and I wouldn't know her if it weren't for Plexus. And she's a rock star mama and she's going to share with you her story.
Hey everyone, it is so fun to hear everybody's journey. So I'll try to keep it short and sweet because I know we've all got families to get to. But basically, I joined Plexus Black Friday 3 years ago. I only was interested in weight loss. That's all I knew. That's all that was getting posted about. So that's all I knew it could do. That's all I was interested in. I was a happy special ed teacher with 2 part-time jobs. My husband was in seminary and it was an associate pastor. He still is. And so when you are a teacher and a pastor family, you are helper people. You're not really driven by money. You're driven by people, and you're also pretty broke. So I started Plexus just to lose weight. I just wanted the discount because I'm a discount kind of girl. But my sponsor basically said, if you get some customers or ambassadors, you can cover the cost of your product. And so I honestly, I just did whatever my sponsor told me to do. And we weren't even close. Like, she was a college acquaintance. She was more of like a friend of a friend. But she said, try to get a couple of customers. And so I said, okay. And I just did. And then it was literally 20 minutes after I got my website. My parents were my first customers. She said, hey, do you realize you just made money? Do you realize how much money you made? It's like, no, my parents ordered product. And she broke down how much money I made. And I was like, what the heck? For real? Like, I just made that? That was really easy. And she said, you should start posting on Facebook. And again, I don't know why I was like not embarrassed or not like hesitant at all. And so I just said, okay. And so I would watch what she would do, and I would sometimes copy it, but really I was watching like what she was saying, and then I would make it my own. And so I went silver within my first week and a half. In 10 days, I had 4 ambassadors on my team. And so it was sort of like, well, okay, that's working. So maybe I should really look into this. And so it was really, I was not like some of you that like really understood the comp plan. I was kind of just stumbling around it, and just money was coming and I didn't know why. And so, but I literally, whatever my sponsor told me to do, I did. And I don't know why I didn't question it, but I just did it. So I was posting, and people were, I think my first month, 9 people joined my team. And this is, again, someone that wasn't really like, I'm going to build this big team. And so, my sponsor was doing contests. So I just started doing contests. I don't really like have a rhyme or reason. I didn't really have like a plan. I was just doing it. And she told me to go to Super Saturday. I was like a brand new silver ambassador, went to Super Saturday. And so I just did it. And I think sometimes that's just what you got to do. If you like spend too much time in your head thinking about all the reasons why it's scary and all the reasons why you shouldn't do it and all the reasons why it doesn't make sense, then you just get stuck in all of those reasons. Whereas you can just jump out there and do it, and you can stumble around like I was doing. And I was like Stephanie, when I started posting, people were flooding towards me. I was constantly on my phone, constantly replying to messages. And it would be, kind of like Amber said, it was like I'd wake up in the morning and I would spend 20 minutes in my bed before I got out of bed, and then I'd go to work, and then sometimes I'd sit in the car before I got out of my car to go to my classroom and reply to messages. And then at recess, I was doing the same. I remember I signed up Erica Thomas on recess because she had a break and I had a break, and she signed up right there, lunchtime, after school, at night. And at this point, I was still I didn't really have that like set goal in mind. I just was like, whoo, this is exciting, and just kind of going for it. And so I really stumbled into gold and senior gold in 4 months. I double ranked 4 months in. And that is when I think Stephanie and another one of my ambassadors started doing Sip and C's opportunity meetings. And those of you that are in California, we were the very first in California. So to me, my upline was in Texas. I'd never gone to a meeting. It was very scary to me to start doing meetings because, like I said, I'm not a green. I don't know details. I didn't know the comp plan. I didn't know the products very well. I just was sharing, and people were coming. So to me, I was like many people, very scared of people asking me something I didn't have an answer to. But when they started doing the meetings, I realized well, I can't just not. They're on my team. I'm not going to just not do it. And so I remember the very first meeting we had was a training meeting. I didn't have much to train on. I wasn't an expert. I wasn't a guru. I didn't know the comp plan, but I just knew that we needed to do something. And so we had my first training. I was senior gold ambassador, and I just had passion. And at that point, that's when I was like, okay, I better learn this freaking comp plan. It was all foreign to me. I had never done network marketing before. And so I sat down and I studied it until I understood it and I could teach it to somebody else. And that's really when I had goals. You know, I knew I wanted to be gold and senior gold, but I think when I really understand the comp plan is when I really had specific goals of not just, okay, I want to add 3 people, I want to add 5 people, but it was like, okay, I want to add this many people to get to Ruby because I'm going to get to Ruby. And I think that's when I was like, I'm going to the top. Like, this is going really fast. And if I pick this up into high gear, I could go to the top. I think I could really do this. And so what I did, I literally, everything that was in front of me, I did. Every training that I could watch, I watched. It was never like, oh, I don't have time for that. I don't know. I just did it. I just did it when I was doing my makeup or on my way to work, or every training, every challenge that there was. I remember my first month I did a challenge that Melissa put out, and it was like a kind of like one of those a lot of work challenges, but I don't know why I never stopped to think I shouldn't do this or this is too much. I just did it. Every suggestion my sponsor did, I did. And I raced to Emerald. And I remember Stephanie, Stephanie's like, I found the printout for that challenge. Stephanie, I remember when she said like, hey, I'm doing this Eric Worre thing. And like, well, I guess I'll do it too. I just did everything. I remember right away I read GoPro and I read How to Rock Your Network Marketing Business. And those were really impactful books to me because this was all new to me. And I would say to you guys that are kind of learn, get in your back office. If you're scared of your back office, you're doing yourself and your team a disservice. Go into your back office, look at your team. Look at who's not getting their orders. Look at who is signing people. You know, if you don't know these things, you should know these things, but I would look at my back office like every day, and you should whatever you're scared of, do that. If you're scared of the comp plan, learn that. If you're scared of your back office, learn that. I used to Zoom for forever because I was so scared of it. And now I do Zooms like every other day, every week. Whatever you're scared of, do that. I will say, I hear this a lot, and Stephanie and I talk about this a lot, but there's a lot of emphasis on having a power partner. And I think it's awesome, but don't let that, like, I don't have a power partner, I don't have anybody to run with me. Like, don't let that be your stumbling block, because the honest truth is I didn't have a power partner. I was just doing a lot, and Stephanie was doing a lot, and Erica was doing a lot. We weren't really doing it together. We were just kind of doing it. And then when Stephanie and I got to Emerald and we were really overwhelmed with the honor and duty and responsibility of being Emerald, we're like, whoa, let's divide and conquer. This is too much. So don't get stuck on finding a power partner. Run with people on your team. Whoever wants to have a meeting, do a meeting with them. And I will say for us, Stephanie was doing meetings like crazy, and I was doing meetings like crazy too. So she was doing them all over the IE, and I was doing them wherever she wasn't doing them. And whoever on my team wanted to do a sip and see, a meeting, a small training, whatever it was, I would just do it. And I remember being, I was, a special ed teacher, a very exhausting job, a very emotionally, mentally, physically exhausting job. And I was pregnant. Tired. I mean, I had hard students. I probably had some of the hardest of the hard students, and exhausted, pregnant, and I'd go do a training or go do a coaching meeting or to go do a sip and see or whatever, because I was not going to have to go back to work when my baby was born. It was not an option for me. And so whatever that thing that drives you, let it drive you till you're exhausted, and know that you did whatever you could and that you didn't have an excuse and you just made it happen. So I that's kind of my story really fast. My timeline is I went silver in 10 days. I went gold and senior gold double ranked in 4 months. And then within 6 months, I had gotten to ruby. So that was 2 months later. And then within 11 months, took a little longer, went to senior ruby. And then within 13 months, I was at emerald. So just a little over a year, I ranked emerald. And I've been at emerald for 2 years. So if you're stuck, I know how that feels. And yes, it's frustrating, but just like everybody else said, it's going back to basics. My comfort zone is this. This is what I love. This is training and encouraging. This is my comfort zone. But what I have to do is the IPA. And that's what I have to force myself to do every day. And I am forcing myself to do every day because I need that growth in the very top of my organization. So I hope that helps. And that's my journey to emerald.
Thank you, Janelle, and thank you, everyone. That was such useful and wonderful information. I want to just recap a few things you guys said, but before I do that, I wanted to ask Sarah, you kind of stopped. You said, when I got to convention, I knew this was the real thing, but you didn't say what your rank road was.
Sorry about that. Okay. So, yes. So in June, we went to convention. In July, I went gold. And then in November, I went to senior gold. And then ruby in January. And then I was at ruby for 6 months. So then I went to senior ruby in July. And 6 months later, I went to emerald. So it was actually, if you go by, I started in February 2014, and I turned emerald 23 months later. So it took me a little bit longer, 23 months. So tomorrow it will be my 1 year anniversary at being emerald. So, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful year. So one thing, hey, I wanted to tell you guys, I found this app, and I don't know if you guys know about it or not. It's called Nextdoor. Well, it's nextdoor.com. You can go to their website, or they have the app. The app's called Nextdoor, and what it is, it's social networking based on your address. So it will be for your neighborhood. You have to put in your address, and everybody has to put in their address to actually, so it'll find people on your next street, and it's really a good way to expand your network, meet your neighbors, not just your next door neighbors, but in your neighborhood, and you can be be helpful about things going on. You might already have a web page or something for your neighborhoods, but not all of them do. There's actually been jewels. They didn't have, they're like little captains or whatever. They didn't have their own little next door neighborhood. They actually signed up to be the captain, and now they're like, they've gone out and they've got all their neighbors on it, and they're really a really good network. So of course they've gotten ambassadors out of that. So Nextdoor app.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. That's a good, helpful thing to use. I want to just recap a few things you guys said. So Erin talked about, she wrote down 85 things that were different since she started Plexus, and that was kind of the stuff she started sharing and posting about. She got out of her comfort zone, she expanded her network, and she had belief. And then Amber, she talked about her goal was adding 30 people a month, 30 to 40 people every single month, so she could rank every other month. So she worked really hard. She made sacrifices. She did weekly trainings with her team and weekly opportunity meetings. Sarah talked about how when she got to convention, how real she knew that Plexus was the real thing. So events are important, you guys, for you to be there and for you to get your team there to convention, Super Saturday, be at those things, earn your way to Leaders Retreat. Stephanie talked about attraction and action and how she made sacrifice. She worked really, really hard, and she was away from her kids for a short amount of time so that she can be with them the rest of their life. And so that is huge, how she she made that sacrifice for a short amount of time. So it's sacrifice to get to where you want to be. And then also joining networking groups and talking to people, and watch the Eric Worre how to sign 20 people in 30 days. I've watched that too, and that's awesome. And she went really quickly to Emerald. And then Sapphire was 14 months later. That's amazing. And she said, know your comp plan, write down your goals. You guys, even like when she held up her papers about writing down her goals, you knew her goals were getting bigger and her boxes were becoming more and more and they were getting smaller. She wrote every single box for every person she needed to add. So you can check that box off. That's so important to write down your specific goals and actions. And then she paid attention to what people, how they were reacting. If she wasn't getting any attention on a post, she tweaked it, reworded it, said it differently, did what she had to do so she got the attention that she wanted from that. And then in messages, if people don't reply, she tweaked the way she sent those messages, and she would always finish it with a question so that they would reply. That's such a huge tip. And then Janelle shared about doing her trainings and challenges. She was always doing everything her sponsor told her. She participated in every single training, every single challenge. She was doing opportunity meetings and sip-and-sees even when she was tired. And I feel like all these ladies are a huge inspiration for us. And if they can do it, we can do it. We just got to follow all these tips they just gave us. So thank you, Sarah, Stephanie, Janelle, Erin, and Amber. We appreciate you guys so much. And everybody have a great night.
You are so welcome. Love you guys.
Love you. Good night.